Oh, it's the most wonderful time of the day. Owen started a video and he's gonna put it up today. It's the most wonderful time of your day. Welcome back to the O Hockey Show. Today I'm going to talk about the top 10 points leaders of last season. Now, I looked at the rookies yesterday, and today I'm going to talk about the top 10 guys that scored points last year and tell you if I think they're going to stay up there, if I think they're going to go down, or if they're in the right spot where they are. So, let's start off at number 10 with Mitchell Marner. Mitch Marner. Yes, Cat. So, Mitch Marner is a guy that I've always thought he's good. But I think he's helped a lot by the guys around him, of course, with Matthews. And I really want to see what he could do on his own one day. He got in the top 10 this last season with, I'm an idiot. And we're back. So, Mitch Marner with 97 points last season. So, I think that's just about right for him. I feel like Mitch Marner's not a 100 points above guy. I feel like he is a upper 90s. Maybe in his bad years, like an 89, 88 player. I like Mitch Marner. I think he's a solid number 2 guy in a 1A, 1B kind of tandem duo with Austin Matthews, who's on the list, of course. I think he deserves to be in the top 10. I think he'll stay there this upcoming season, and he'll probably stay there as long as he has Matthews with him by his side. I don't see he might not be in the top 10 if, like, more guys, get some more 100 points and knock him out. But he definitely is, like, in this territory of being potentially up here. He is going to stay around this board. Even if he ends up in, like, 11th or 12th, he will be somewhere around touching this top 10 spot at least. So, at number 9, JT Miller. I don't think he's going to get back up here. 99 points is incredible, but I don't see him getting back here this upcoming season. Especially with all the trade talks about him leaving Vancouver, because they, for some reason, would want to trade him away. And which completely doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they would trade away a top guy. Why would you trade? I don't understand why teams do that. Why do they trade away top players? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's what the Senators did with Mark Stone and Carlson. I mean, I guess, sure, Carlson worked out for their advantage, but Stone, Duchesne doesn't make any sense to me. I'm still lost at why they even did that in the first place. So, but JT Miller, 99 points, probably not. With so much stress on him this season and being on the Canucks, I feel like last year was just his year, and he's not going to make it there again. I don't see him being on this board. Number 8, Matthew Tkachuk, the brand new guy to the Florida Panthers, and I think he's definitely going to go up. I think he's the only guy on this list that I have an up arrow for. So for him, I give him an up because with Barkov and Reinhart and Verhaeghe and all these guys that he gets to play with on Florida this year instead of Calgary, I feel like it's going to be so much more help around him than he had in Now, in Calgary, sure, he did have Gaudreau and he did have Lindholm, but I feel like his more surrounding help and his more potential to succeed as his type of player is going to be a lot more useful in Florida than it was in Calgary. So I see him going up on this list. I could see him ending up here where maybe Huberdeau ends up. So at number 7, we have Steven Stamkos with 106 points. I think this was just his amazing year. I think this was just his year to shine as he's starting to get up there. Maybe I have a down arrow for him, but I think it really depends on if Nikita Kucherov is here to play with him. I think Kucherov, if he plays the entire season along with Steven Stamkos, that'll go a long way in getting him some points as well. And I could see both of those guys, I mean, especially Kucherov if he decides to play a whole season, I could see both of those guys on this list, especially Kucherov up here, like where he should go. Stamkos, I could see on the list again. I could not see him on the list. I feel like it just depends on who plays around him. He's the type of player that's got so much heart and soul. He is the definition of a captain that you want for your team. So Stamkos is going to put in the fight no matter what, but I just don't really see him getting 106 points again. Depending on how the guys around him play and who plays, I feel he could get here, he could not, I don't know. He's not going to be, he's not going to fall off. He's definitely not falling off a cliff this season. But I could see, he's going to be sniffing around, but I don't know if he'll quite make it. Next is Austin Matthews, tying with Steven Stamkos, 106 points. 60 of those were goals as he won the Rocket Richard this year. Amazing, 60 goals. I'm going to talk about in the video. And Austin Matthews is, of course, he's going to stay on this board. He's going to stay on this board probably no matter what, unless guys like Marner do get injured. Some guys that he plays along with get injured and he doesn't have guys to pass the puck to. But as long as he can, he's going to get goals, and it all depends if he can get assists out of it. So as long as his teammates are playing up to par, 106 points, I could see him definitely getting at least that again. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but he's definitely going to stay in this top 10 every single season. That's just the type of player he is. So is the guys above him. Everyone above him on this list, well, actually, a couple of them maybe not. But Matthews is going to be an incredible player. He's going to stay in the top 10. I see him. I don't know if I see him climbing the board this upcoming season because I think the Maple Leafs won't be as good as they were last year. I could see him maybe dropping down, but I definitely see him at least getting in the top 10. I think maybe 6 is his spot. That seems like the solid spot for Matthews. I think in his career, he'll probably get up to probably 3 or 2. I don't know if I could ever see him getting to the 1 spot, especially with guys like McDavid and Draisaitl playing and guys like Shane Wright coming up. I don't really see him ever getting to the 1 spot because he's a goal scorer. I don't really know if you'd get that many assists to compensate, but maybe you would. Maybe you would. I don't know. So, number 5 is Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov, who's thankfully back home in, well, I guess not home, but whatever. Kirill Kaprizov, 108 in points. I don't think he's going to get back there again. I think last year everything was just the momentum was so strong for the Minnesota Wild, and especially I know he didn't play with Fiala. I just don't think 108 points is incredible, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to get to that again. I could see him getting on the board. I could see him definitely getting on the top 10 as well. 108 points, that's such a high standard. And then there's so many questions when it comes to Minnesota, like the guys he could play with, which I guess I don't know who it is, but guys like Ryan Hartman, Zuccarello, you never know. Maybe Hartman just had one really good year. Maybe Zuccarello just is going to finally blow out, whatever. I don't think Kirill Kaprizov's going to get any worse, but the guys around him might. 108 points is a high standard to get back to, but I do think he's going to get back in this. I think he gets at least 100 points, or maybe I would say high 90s up to 100 is his area. I feel like his best season, he could probably get to 115 up here, but 108 is pretty solid for his first season. So, number 3, number 4, Leon Draisaitl, the German giant. Well, I guess he's not really a giant, but the German stud, the German machine, the German dream. Draisaitl, I've always thought that if I was a GM, I would maybe pick Draisaitl over McDavid, but I might be biased because of Germany. But anyways, 110 points. This guy, he's gotten up to the number 1 spot. Draisaitl is hands down an incredible player. Probably the best contract in the whole league. $8 million for what he does every season. I mean, if that's what stars were getting paid, I mean, who knows how good hockey teams could be. But instead, his teammate McDavid up here gets more than him, but I guess it makes sense. 12 million, 12.3, whatever. Anyways, Leon Draisaitl, incredible. Definitely deserves to be on the list. He could easily go up. He can easily go down, I guess, a little bit, but he's definitely in the top 10. I would say he's always going to be in the top 5. He could even get back to the top 1. He's a goal scorer of the 2, but Draisaitl's just so good. And with a better team this season, I feel like he could even go up. And especially with these 2 guys that I don't think are going to do as good, I think Draisaitl could. What if we get McDavid, Draisaitl 1 and 2? That'd be pretty crazy. So Draisaitl definitely staying where he is, maybe up a little more, but he's definitely not going down. Up to number 3 is Johnny Hockey, the new home found for himself in Columbus. He's leaving Calgary with 115 points, and I mean that's incredible, absolutely incredible. But obviously with Columbus, he's probably not going to get back there. Now he could, but I just don't think he's going to get to 115. That's incredible for any hockey player to do it in multiple seasons. Whew. I mean, sure, I predict that he could probably get to. I could say that he gets to 90. I would give Gaudreau a 90. with the Columbus. And then maybe next season he could get maybe up to the hundreds once the guys around him start to produce and they have like Cole Sillinger playing with them. Maybe then. But for this upcoming season, I say 90 is a good number for Johnny Hockey. And he might end up on this list, maybe not. I mean, just going off of how points are going up nowadays and what the point situation is like on here, I would say probably not ended up on this list again. But I think he's going to still do really good with his new team. But that's what happens when you go to a team that's not I mean, he's also going to a team that's not really offensively minded. So that's another thing to think about. But Johnny Hockey, lovely guy, but probably not going to end up back on here again. Not by his skill level, just because of where he chose to go. Number 2, Jonathan Huberdeau. Once again, traded, new found home for this guy. Jonathan Hubert, crazy, isn't it, that the number 2, tied for second place guys, both have new homes. I mean, isn't that kind of crazy? One of them was traded away, which is weird. So, anyways, Jonathan Huberdeau, both of them named Johnny, with Calgary. I feel like if he went there and he had Gaudreau and Lindholm, or he had Tkachuk and Lindholm to play with, I feel like that could be okay. But with just Lindholm and probably Toffoli, I would say he doesn't get 115 points. I mean, once again, that's incredible for guys, even for Draisaitl and McDavid to get, let alone guys like Huberdeau and Gaudreau. So, Huberdeau with 115, probably not that high again. Could he get in the top 10? I personally don't think he could in Calgary, especially with only going to play with Lindholm and whatever his name is, and especially playing in a new home as well, completely new setting. It'll probably set him back a little bit with a new team, and then he's also got to get his grippings back with them until he gets into a good rhythm. So I don't see him getting on this top 10, maybe in the future if he stays there. I just think Calgary doesn't have, I mean, they don't, Florida is just so well-rounded that the guys he was playing with were incredible. I don't think he's going to have as good as a talent is playing with in Calgary. And you got to think, well, Lindholm's great. Lindholm's great, but he was put between Johnny Hockey and Matthew Tkachuk. That's probably a big helper. And Tyler Toffoli's not very amazing in my eyes. So Jonathan Huberdeau, probably not on here, but maybe just on the outside. And of course, the number 1 spot, the home spot for this guy. He's set up camp. He's not leaving. Connor McDavid, 103 points. He's staying there. I mean, it's a fight between him and Draisaitl, I feel, every year. I don't think if he doesn't get the number 1 spot, then Draisaitl will. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. These two guys are interchangeable when it comes to the number 1 spot. McDavid took it this year. He's going to stay, I mean, regardless of any year, Draisaitl will probably be top 5, but McDavid will always be top 3. That's just how it's going to work with these guys. Unless he gets injured, of course, but that's out of hand. So McDavid, 1, 2, 3 points. I mean, what else can I say? He's incredible. He's McJesus. He's not going anywhere. He's insane. So McDavid at number 1 makes sense to me. Where do I see this list? I see McDavid at number 1. I can see Draisaitl and him combating. I don't see the 2 Johnnies on the board. Kirill Kaprizov probably will stay on the board. Matthews definitely will. Stamkos depends if Nikita Kucherov does or not. Matthew Tkachuk, I could see climbing up the board. JT Miller, no. Mitch Marner, maybe just on the outside, but maybe gets a number 10 spot. But that's how I see it. A couple guys that could slide into the top here. I could see certain, like a Nathan McKinnon, if he can play the whole season. A guy like maybe, I don't know. I feel like, a Panarin, of course. Maybe a Patrick Kane if he goes to a better team. There's a lot of options out there for guys that can slide back in, of course. So, anyways, that's really all I have to say. Just kind of reviewing the board. Trying to just give you something to listen to, really. So, I guess if you like this, please put down below your thoughts about what I had to say. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike. Go down below. Tell me all about what you have to say. Any tangent, trans, opinions, comments, concerns, suggestions, or views. Please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. And until next time, I have been the dapperly dressed Owen. Too sweet. And ta-ta for now. Wrong button.